We almost did the whole show in the back room today, everybody.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome back to another Saturday Night Sci-Fi Shadow Chat. Hope everybody's doing great. Here we got a good friend Justin, and now Brian is ready to rock and roll. What's happening, man? Good game last night. That was a lot of fun.
Did you molest anybody, Brian?
Haven't yet today. I'm down on my quota, man. Haven't done anything today.
You notice what I changed your name to over on Restream?
No.
What?
WW3, please.
WW3. Please.
Hopefully,
So what's tonight's show?
You didn't even read the header, nothing?
Vampires in space. We're just talking about life force for 3 hours.
Oh, hell yeah.
Vampires in space.
Boobies. European bush. Boobies. That's life
Then
force.
some space vampires.
Space
Vampire zombies.
That's a great movie, though, dude. It's a fantastic movie.
Honestly, I can't remember a damn thing about it.
What?
Brian just described the whole thing to you in high detail.
No, well, I know, but you know, I'm going to be thinking of different things than what or different actors and actresses, I should say.
May is the boobies. Railsback from X-Files, and he's the American pilot guy. Then you got some Hammer heavyweights. The guy, I can't remember his name. The guy who plays the professor, Velarda, I think is the character name. He's a big Hammer character actor. Why don't you keep guys actors in it, man?
Babylon 5 had space vampires. I think there was the Fifth Dimension. Hello.
Look, Giacomo, how you doing?
Guten Tag.
I just made up the first name that popped into my head and like an official sounding job title.
Sounds like a producer of ill blue movies or something.
With the sweater vest and the hairstyle, you look like a professor from Germany.
All I'm saying is, time we cleaned up the streets.
Good luck with that one. I was watching a video earlier about my local area, and wow. We're not getting vampires yet, but we definitely have zombies.
Oh, you mean with the new opioids and stuff?
Oh, no, it's been this way for, I don't know if it's technically new. We've had it for years and years and years, but it's just getting worse. And then it turns out that our lovely scumbag governor has been sending them to New York. Imagine that.
Hey, Texas is sending them everywhere, baby.
Yeah.
Relax.
Well,
come on to the freedom truck.
When you hurt your back, the doctors will let you have all that stuff like a bit too freely. And I was just like, no, I don't want to get addicted to that thing. So I already smoke cigarettes and drink coffee like it's going out of style.
Yeah, I remember those days, man. They sucked.
Yeah.
I spent an hour up to physical therapy for a 30 to 45 minute session, another hour back home, and I'd be worse off than before I left. I'd have been better just kicking back. Who do we got here?
Yeah,
hey, Raven, how you doing?
I did my stretches today, so I'm excited to join. I'm excited to get in on the discussion because I don't hang out on these very often anymore. So I thought
you've always got a permanent spot here, man.
You know,
I kick all these fuckers out just to let you hang out.
That's a bit strong.
Yeah. What did I ever do?
Not much.
Oh,
Hey,
hey, I can make a list there.
your name is not Shauner. You don't get to call me a waste of space. Only my official nemesis is allowed to be.
I need to watch that Nathan show, man. You guys do it so damn late. It's like after
It's right after this one.
Yeah, it's like after I talk, I'm drained after the show. I just got to go to bed.
Yeah.
Sorry, it must be the vampire in me. Just
something.
Just sucking
No,
out.
you're Californian.
Life force.
It's
Yeah,
even worse.
same thing.
Well,
same
you know,
thing.
it's Sunday. It's Sunday lunchtime here, so I'm living in the future.
There you are.
Ooh. That's it.
Yeah, I take it you're down in Australia, New Zealand.
Yeah. Australia. New Zealand is like
That's
Australia's
not how
Canada.
That's
It's pronounced Australia.
Australia's Canada.
Australia.
And
Down
Canada is
under.
America's hat.
Totally Australian. Yeah. Yeah, it's better to be a hat than toilet paper.
So everybody doing good?
Oh, we ran out of that a long time ago.
What do you mean? You got plenty of toilet paper right there behind you.
Growing on the trees. Yeah.
Yeah, I always wondered about that. Not too much because never really had a need for it, but I never understood how that would work without being incredibly uncomfortable.
What?
There is a particular plant that grows in England called dock, and it's like a sweet herb with big flat leaves, and apparently it's the best for that particular purpose because it like cleans it quite well.
Yeah.
It's been used since the Middle Ages.
Well, welcome to the Saturday Night Show, where we went from. Yeah.
I bet you haven't done that. You haven't done that. A show about that. The perfect leaves for your bum.
Yeah, I'll say that for the prepping series.
Well, yeah. I mean, it feeds into the. I mean, it's kind of a life skill. If you find yourself on the highway in England, like no toilet paper, look for some dock. Just don't pick up any nettles. That'll be a bad time.
Yikes! Yeah, that sounds very.
I got a nettle stuck in my hair once.
Who invented that thing? Like, seriously.
Nettle?
Yeah, I love how it's a symbol of Scotland as well. It's like, careful, I'll sting you.
That's the barb with the seed pod in the middle, right? I'm thinking of the right thing. Yeah. It's literally it's a seed pod
Texas
in the middle.
Fucking stickers, grass stickers. Holy shit! Those things bore into you and just.
Yeah. I got a nettle stuck in my hair once, and I'm not talking about the hair on my head.
What do you do?
Were you getting back to nature? Like, were you having like a barbarian weekend? You go out to the woods, you beat a drum, reconnect.
I do not know how I got a nettle stuck there. Shadow's like, what the fuck? Hey, it's kind of like a vampire. It's the vampire of the plant world.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we have a topic. We got a topic. What about that
topic?
Yeah, you guys have been going on about the movie Life Force, but I know I've seen it, but like I said, I couldn't remember anything about it.
I'm telling you this, man. Make Jackie watch it. It'll cause him to go through puberty, and he won't be so annoying anymore.
That's a bit harsh.
Listen, it's a good movie too. I mean,
every time you see him, he's a couple of inches taller. Like, they're gonna have to put an extension on the roof soon enough.
Yeah, well, I told him he's not allowed to get taller than me until I'm, another decade older.
Too late.
But yeah, I know. No, he's still got a couple inches to go, but he's getting a lot of exercise and eating like a freaking horse.
Yeah, it's all that.
Dinner's over and he's already looking for a snack.
Well, you just gotta tell him to stop eating the grass after mowing the lawn. He doesn't need to do that, man.
I hear that. I do this thing like I think I'm being good. Like, I fast all day, and then after dinner, it's like dinner is really just the beginning of like an 8-hour snacking session.
Yeah. I found that's why you've got to kind of actually do the 3 meals.
Or have some willpower.
Yeah.
If
because what happens is
I'll be looking that up after the session.
You shrink your stomach, and then what do? You eat a big dinner and it stretches it out, and you start getting, unbelievably hungry, and sometimes,
Then you got to
that's-
move into your special. You got to move into special pants as well, veggie ones.
Your elastic banded jeans.
And then you look like the penguin. You just need an umbrella and a top hat.
That sucks, crafting. So when I was coming up with this idea, it was based on the fact that I run I've been running a very long, very in-depth sci-fi campaign where I use everything. And one of the big things was vampires, mostly because I can't stand the bloodsuckers, but because there's so many, but so many great movies about them, but none that really show off how nasty they would be in like a high-tech sci-fi situation. The only time, or the only thing I can remember was like, I think it was like a Dracula magazine. I forget what the name of it was. It was a black and white comic book. My ex used to read all the time, and this was back in like the 80s. And there was this one story like called Dracula 2000. So 2000 was, the future.
They
And,
made
and
a movie of that.
did they?
Yeah,
They did.
Saw in theaters.
I'm not sure what you mean there, Al. But anyways, I was going through a short list of vampiric abilities and the things that they can do. How high tech stuff would be like just as easy for them to walk through or do their thing. Just as easy as the Middle Ages or modern day.
The kicker is about vampires. It depends on what kind of vampire you're talking about. If you're talking about Eastern European, you're talking African, you're talking even down under. The Aborigines had types of vampiric creatures and stuff. It really depends, like what kind of vampire you're from, what culture you're talking.
I was for simplicity's sake, I was sticking mostly with the Bela Lugosi European style.
The European.
Yeah,
even then there's some that like can walk in daylight without any problem. They're just not as powerful. And then like there's other ones like you can't kill them. So the only way to make him inert is you got to pin him in a crossroads underground. You got to bury him underground in a crossroads and stake him to that in the ground in the crossroads. Just weird, just tons of different ways and powers.
For all intents and purposes, I kind of immediately picture they're kind of almost like really over the top, long haired kind of Transylvanian movie vampires, but like using the kind of vastness and mobility of space to kind of hunt, over long distances for their prey, and maybe not even
you never get caught because you're just moving to another world altogether.
I think a really good
something right off the bat. I have this theory when it comes to this sort of thing with kind of like a cross between Superman and the Red Sun and earthly vampires. What if an earthly vampire got into a spaceship headed for another star system?
Yeah, that's what our good friend has been. James
think of it this way, Shadow. Think of like the movies. 20 was it 20? What's the one where they go up to Alaska? The vampires attacking Alaska.
28 days.
28 days or something like that.
Yeah.
Think of that. Think of like a crew of vampires in space flying to a mining colony that has no sun, right? And they just eat them all up.
Right. Well, what I was wondering is, would you rule or say that it's their home sun that they're vulnerable to, or their home sun specific type, like a neutron star or a red dwarf?
Well, I kind of like the idea of like remember Blade? They had like the ultraviolet. It was ultraviolet
light bulbs.
rays. Yeah, so it's like they can make weapons with ultraviolet, light instead of just
that's
sun.
what I was saying. Al.
Yeah, I think it would be
and-
like. I think that would be a
Um,
good idea because it would be like it doesn't matter what sun, what kind of sun. It'd just be like the ultraviolet rays is what's caustic. to
Because
their skin or
I wanted to have it sort of a kind of like their Earth having to sleep in their soil, that it was specifically their sun, you know, had some sort of religious or metaphysical connection, that once they escape, you know, like in a ship where all the windows are, you know, sealed up, and they escape, you know, they may very well be completely immune to all other suns unless you drag them back home. You know, obviously that makes them really, really, really powerful. Maybe a little bit too powerful there.
if you're living in a sci-fi world where there's magic, I'd say do that. But if it's a science only world, do the type of radiation. So like
Right, because
like normal light
otherwise
bulbs,
you're-
like you could have a vampire walking around in a building with a lot of electricity and light bulbs and not have to worry about the dark. But if they have like the grow lamps, you know, they emit the radiation that plants need, right? So you use one of those to fucking kill a vampire.
yeah, TCG, I've got it. The Green Book. That book was phenomenal when we were younger. Absolutely loved
Yeah,
it.
they don't have to necessarily be blood driven, do they? They could also be like life draining.
Yeah.
Psychic.
Well,
Soul
even if it's
sucking.
even if it's like blood, right? But it's like the
Mhm.
hemoglobin or something like that in the blood that they need.
Mhm.
Um,
Or even
so you can do that
particular
synthetically.
even a particular, you know, organ could do it. I actually I just want to veer off just for a second. I actually had a type of vampire that it was sugar, processed or otherwise. That's what they were after, you know, because we were just going on a little comedy lark for the evening. But yeah, like Twinkies and things like that, you know, that was their thing.
Well, there's
Uh,
there's kind of a bat connection there, isn't there? Like, you know,
because that's what
that's what bats eat most of the time, right? Like
yeah, the sugar
insects
from
and
the
fruit.
fruits.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was also wondering, you know, about all their other powers, you know, as well as their weaknesses. We'll get into that later. But things like being able to turn into mist in a high tech situation, you know, they would just, you know, go right through those air scrubbers, and all that would be, you know, for the most part, probably no big
Would
deal
they,
to them.
would they even be affected by the vacuum of space? Would they potentially just be able to like walk between?
Yeah,
You
I
know,
kind of think that they
like-
would, to be honest. You know, they're immune to
because
cold.
the thing spacesuits do is vent excess heat so you don't boil yourself to death and provide air.
And there's that pressure and stuff as well, right?
Yeah.
But I mean,
But
if they
that's
were
like,
like
you
really
can-
kind of like undead vampires, you know, like not undead, like not vampires as say an alien phenomena, it would be kind of creepy to have them just walking between the ships.
Yeah. or
You
even
know?
like you see one and it's just wearing like a skin suit, like something to keep you from freezing.
Yeah.
too
You know,
quickly,
just
but
like
it's
in
not.
that
It's not got all
that
the
Twilight Zone
piping
with
and
William Shatner.
air.
You know, they're
air
looking
effects.
in through the portholes and
Yeah.
junk. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
crazy ass boarding action. I probably wouldn't let them turn into mist in the vacuum of
Yeah.
space, but with their strength, they could, you know, potentially rip open an airlock door, pop in, you know, and
Because they're not
you
really
know,
breathing or anything. They're just kind of like
no,
Yeah.
like I was
Evil.
telling Elle,
animated
just-
by evil, more or less.
Yeah. well, hunger, you
Well,
know.
I wouldn't even give them enough strength to like rip open an airlock door, but smash at a window, like just you see it like for even it took them like 3 or 4 hours to break through a freaking window, constantly smashing at it, chipping little pieces off. There's nothing you can do about it. You know,
all your guns are not gonna your turrets and what
Guys.
have you, they're not gonna be able to angle down on it.
not that close to your own hull. Because
Monsters.
yeah,
TV show Monsters, that old
Yeah, I
80s
remember
TV
that.
show. There's one where there's like it's a story about like there's like some a nuclear war, and there's like these Air Force guys in the bunker, right? You know, in the missile bunker, and they try to get a hold of somebody and whatever. But at the very end, one of them escapes out of the bunker because they thought they heard somebody, and they, you know, they're losing their brain. If you go out there, you're gonna die because it's all radiation, right? Well, a couple of days go by, and you hear a knock on the bulkhead door, right? Knock, knock. It's like, hey, it's me, Jones. Let me back in. And he's like, what? You should be dead. And he's like, no, it's great out here. You should come out here. They're survivors. And he looks at the monitor, right? And it's like vampires, right? That, you know, everybody's dead. And they're just, you know, there's nuclear winter now that they can just roam at any time. And he's trying to get in right at the door, and he changed the code. So he's like, he's pushing the buttons. He's like, I've changed the code. You can't get in. He's like, it's okay. I got an eternity. And he goes 0000001, 00002, and that's just how it ends. But it's like,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
I love that.
So was that an anthology show?
Yeah, it's one of those like kind of like Twilight Zone type things.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't remember that one, but I watched something like that. Yeah. Okay. I watched all of them. Outer Limits, Twilight Zone, Tales from the Dark Side. They were all usually kind of hit or miss, but there were some good ones out there. What about like
I was just gonna say there's an episode of Doctor Who where like I think it's Tom Baker's Doctor like finds a planet that has kind of reverted to feudalism under these vampires, and he figures out that like the tower they're living in is like the crashed spacecraft, like upended.
That was a really good one. Do you remember the Sylvester McCoy one though, where the Doctor was able to turn them, you know, like with holy symbol, just by looking at him, because he gave him this look like, listen, bitches, I've had tea with Jesus. You can kiss my ass. And they just like
That was the curse
if you had a time machine, wouldn't you?
That was the curse of Fenric, and they were coming out.
I remember that one.
Had the Ruskies in it, and Ace of Course was in it.
It's like a Cold War one.
That's quite a good one, actually. Like, it's funny. Doctor Who's like very hit or miss. Like, there's some real stinkers and some real classic episodes.
The only one I can really remember from the old series was the one where they went. It was like medieval times, and somebody was transporting modern guns back to the French or something like that. That's
good idea.
Like, why would you give guns to the French? Like,
something to do. Passes the time.
Real quick, Mac. I know that's like how most Vamps stories, work, that they're Blood of Cain or something else. But what if they were actually an alien species?
Well,
that's playing out
Vampirella, right?
Right. Yeah,
Vampirella. She's
wow. I don't know how that happened.
She's an alien.
She's like,
and she was sent to come to Earth to terraform the world by turning the water into blood.
Backstory, right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that at all.
It was actually, because Vampirella was never meant to be taken totally serious. Even when they were trying their hardest, they wanted you to not take it serious. What about like their immunities to like pretty much almost all forms of damage? Obviously in RPGs, you can chop them up with swords, but then they're just going to go and turn to mist and go back to their coffins kind of thing.
I don't like the turn to mist thing. I like the heal really quickly.
Just imagine, and I say this unironically, like how hard it is to get a wooden stake in space, or how hard it is to get like silver bullets, or salt or chalk for like circles or something like that. That's the edge.
What would be
those everyday things that
is like
stop them?
Religious icons, because as time advances, people take more stock in the religion starts to fade a little bit more.
Yep.
So next thing you know, maybe Christianity falls out of, worship on earth, and then all of a sudden there's do what?
I said perish the thought.
No, but I'm just saying,
Paris.
It would probably cycle back. It would probably cycle back into fashion eventually, anyway. But
Well,
I think
no,
all
I
the
totally
religions,
because
all the religions kind of go like this anyway. Like,
right, maybe there would
I still want to know what Paris Hilton's got to do with thought.
maybe there are entire worlds out there where they come from, or that sort of thing, and it would literally take, certain worlds, religious, apogee, icon to be able to turn them, or maybe it was something akin to, in the Doctor Who episode with them being turned by a certain thought process or faith in something that could literally drive them off because they're
maybe a faith in good. They this is a symbol of like good and purity and love and whatever it might be.
Really,
that's what
apple paint
vampires can't handle.
That's what he had handy. I totally get it. Because I was thinking, like TCG brought up earlier in Palladium, their vampires, they could be hit with lasers and all kinds of stuff. Certain weapons, energy weapons and things like that will actually hurt them. But I believe they you drop them to zero, they turn to mist, go back to the coffin.
Well, it's like say the wood thing is just a trope, right? But it's actually you have to destroy the heart. So you freaking shoot up a vampire, and it's crumpled on the ground, and you don't take the time to destroy the heart, and you walk away, and the next thing you know, you got a vampire on the back of your neck because you were complacent with the final task. Or
that's kind of like with the zombie in the brain, but with the vampire, it's the heart. I can see that.
They talk about that in Life Force. They say that the metal has to pierce the energy cortex of the vampire, which is in their chest by the heart.
You could even make the heart an actual gestalt creature that like transfers from body to body.
Yeah.
So you destroy the body, and the heart leaps out and starts strangling you and like trying to like force its way down your throat.
Or maybe it crawls up the throat of the vampire and goes in the bite wound, right? Because it's just a very like a small snake.
Plants an egg through the bite wound or something.
Yeah, like that TV series by not Romero, the guy that did Labyrinth, not Labyrinth.
What series?
Oh, the name is what?
Jim Henson?
No.
Hey,
It
Grandma,
was like
long time no see.
5 years ago, something like that. I'll look it up and get back to you.
The Canadians.
And what about the transformation power from not just mist but bat or wolf?
Yeah, I'm not super fond of that. But like, if it's limited, okay.
I think it's cool.
The ability to charm and convince
common trope for
others.
Like
charming, I like.
Yeah, that one is so misunderstood.
It's not charming. They're just putting the whammy on them. It's not that they're charming. It's some sort of hypnosis or
I'm sure somewhere there's like a really skinny goth girl and a really chubby goth girl playing a vampire RPG right now, and their interpretation of charming is like, oh, he charms you with his poetry, like an anime character into bed. But I mean, the ability to actually make you kind of go against your common sense and like let him in.
Yeah, I would go with it more of a traditional hypnotic power. I've seen and had some experience with hypnosis, and I know despite what they hear or you hear about, you can't actually make someone do something to harm themselves. That's actually a bunch of crap. I've literally seen it with my own eyes. People do horrific things. under that sort of mental control. So
it can be quite effective. It can be quite effective, but you have to there has to be an element of you wanting to go along with it, right? Like I did it to quit smoking.
No,
I did it
if
to
you
quit
break somebody
smoking
down,
years ago.
It just takes more steps.
Yeah, if you break somebody
quit
down,
smoking years ago, and I didn't want to smoke for a very long time after that. Like I quit for years after that. So yeah,
right? Well,
I mean, but I felt that I had to kind of get into the frame of mind where I was like allowing it to happen, not put up any resistance.
Yeah, if they wear you down, whether it be through torture or things like that or chemicals, the sky is literally the limit. The whole Manchurian Candidate, all of that is literally a possibility. But think of what they could do when it comes to security clearances and things like that. And getting into, just all kinds of getting people to launch nuclear weapons or crazy crap. They could literally just.
So you mean like an MK Ultra kind of thing, right? Like
Yeah,
absolutely.
But
not neuro-linguistic programming where it's like
the thing they learned with MK Ultra is that it's easier, cheaper, more reliable to just pay someone than hypnotize them or drug them.
Sure.
But yeah, if you're really like, because you can do a lot of really sick things with hypnosis.
Yes. Yes.
Like you want a cult of love slaves, go learn how to be a hypnotist. No.
Sounds like a lot of laundry.
Well, they're really pliable.
To those of us old heads, we're just thinking, how much am I spending on groceries now?
Yeah.
Well, no, what you do is you also hypnotize them to get as skinny as possible. Make them all anorexic.
Oh.
So back to the bats and wolves. Do you think they're
cool?
Yeah, I know. Do you think there might be maybe even other animals like spiders or snakes or lizards? Because I'm sure that in other cultures that's probably the thing, because there are no bats or there are no wolves. Maybe that sort of thing. Maybe even that's they just pick the animal that's local and use that as one of their other abilities or one of their other strategies and tactics to get into wherever it is they want.
Well, I'm not like I said, I'm not super a fan of shape-shifting vampires, but yeah, I could see if they were if you were doing that, having the creature optional. I've seen times where it didn't matter what the vampire shapeshifted into; they could just change to any low creature.
Well, maybe it's a manifestation of like whoever it's up against. Maybe they're able to read their mind and find a creature in their mind that frightens them, and then they can turn like mimic that or some shit.
Or even they're not mimicking it. You're just perceiving them as being that thing because it's scary.
A lot of places
right?
it is just
through hypnosis.
A lot of places
it
is just that. A lot of places it is just that still, like Indonesia, India, like they're pretty widespread. Like
right.
It's interesting how it persists. It always persists, like as a kind of parasitic.
And bats make for good flyers at night. There aren't a lot of other animals that fly
Owls.
at night. Yeah. I've got an
I mean,
owl.
a lot of those other creatures are kind of ascribed a magic quality because of the way they live, like, or nest or hunt, anyway, like, so it's not that much of a stretch. I mean, when you think about alien planets, like, you're going to have analogs to animals that we have, like, probably different, but they wouldn't be that different if they're shaped by the same environment, If they're adapting to the similar
especially if it's a terraformed world, it's probably just
introduced species and stuff
I know
like
what
that.
James is talking about with bilateral symmetry and things like that. If you've got a lot of the similar terrestrial situations, the right gravity and the right air and things like that, you're probably going to see, a lot of planets out there with actual dinosaurs, things like that. They may not have gotten to where we went, or maybe their dinosaurs are walking around like lizard people now. They evolved, to things
I saw
like
that episode of Voyager.
I didn't, but I'd never watched Voyager.
One.
But it makes perfect sense if you think about it. Life works the way it does.
Captain Janeway drinks coffee. She's just like me.
I couldn't. I literally had to nope out of the first episode of Voyager.
Why?
It's pretty stiff. No, it is pretty
It was
stiff.
boring
Star
as
Trek
hell.
in general. Star Trek in general is a workplace drama. Like, let's be real.
Yeah.
Right, but I couldn't get into the captain. I was not
Cherry
impressed.
Ryan.
So
Didn't she expose herself to some kids while she was like drunk?
No, that
Or
was
that the other one?
That was the other one. The one that they
Right.
kicked off the show.
Right. Yeah, she was living in like a shotgun shack. She was like, I used to be somebody. I was on Star Trek.
Look at
I'm
this,
not sure what
kids.
you mean here, Al. I'm not sure what this is in reference to. Are you talking about Avatar?
Did he delete that comment?
No, it was. It's
Oh.
right here. Did Pandora have any bloodsuckers? Some word might have a Gaia or Iowa that doesn't allow such waste. Maybe. Star Trek is life. Shut your mouth.
It has this all sci-fi.
Wizard
All
is
sci-fi
offensive.
has something to offer.
Wizards
Like
of the
it has
Coast.
its moments. I'm more of a British sci-fi guy because everything looks like it's falling apart. Everything looks a bit grittier and more run down.
Yeah. The show I was thinking about earlier was The Strand.
Oh yeah, the Strand. That was okay.
Yeah.
I honestly never saw it.
You should watch it. You'd like it.
It's almost like a zombie apocalypse, but it's like
vampires.
This vampire. Yeah, they're not quite. Yeah, they're
parasite vampires.
Kind of like the Omega Man.
No, more like the second half of Life Force.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's like it's almost like everybody's being infected by it.
Good one, Al. Good one.
Yeah, sure. Why
No,
not?
I
In a
meant,
way,
I meant
they
this
are.
one.
In a way,
Hey,
they
I
are.
meant
Yeah.
Grandma. Sorry, Al, but it's still good.
Yeah,
The salt monster from Star Trek is definitely a vampire.
I do not get the Doctor Who angels. That mechanic doesn't fucking work.
The statues
doesn't
you mean?
work.
Stone Angels.
cheap
It's
to
creepy.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Stone
well,
Angels
that's
don't
it.
work.
Just
Even if you follow the tenets of its thing, it just they don't work. Like how they say
like,
they're supposed to work.
They're a multi-dimensional life form, right?
Not sure, Grandma. That's another good one because I think more zombie, but they were just a different take on zombies.
Well, they're not undead. They're just kind of like infected from Night of the Comet. They're more like kind of like they'd be like madness, like zombies.
Right, but you know what? That
Like
would actually
rage
be a
zombies.
great way to to justify or what have you this particular comment or whatever. Maybe it turns people into that, and maybe the zombies
they could be
evolve
the
into
threat
vampires.
of a vampire.
What about Liquid Sky?
Happens a
I
lot.
mean, the aliens in that were kind of
Never heard of
feeding
it.
off people.
You know what?
through-
I've always wanted to see that one, but I never got a chance to see it.
It's pretty crazy. It's pretty
Yeah,
crazy.
that's what I heard.
Oh,
Is that the one with Tom Selleck in it?
No, it's like
Isn't
it's
it,
almost like a student.
Liquid
It's almost
Sky?
like a student movie. Like it's basically like a new wave movie. They all look like really 80s. They've all got like really like crazy hair and stuff like
face
that.
makeup and shit like that.
And they're all like
That sounds
addicted
familiar. I want to say
to-
I've seen it. But I can't.
They're all addicted to some alien drug that's like encouraging them to kind of sleep with each other,
know-
and life force gets drained.
the True Blood series, right? So I
Okay.
was forced to watch that, and
It
all
says
that crap.
here
Hold
it's
on,
a you.
well, what's
Okay, you
Go
go. Sorry.
but the like the Suki Stackhouse books or whatever, the
Yeah.
True Blood. It's interesting because like I'm actually printed in one of her books because she
Quick,
took a
get the
bunch
markers.
of fan questions, and this is what I asked her. I asked her since what's up.
Oh, you froze.
So I asked like, okay, since am I frozen? Am I good?
Yeah.
You're good. Your audio's a little choppy, but
Okay. I asked if because vampires have been outed, right? They're part of the world. And there's no limitations, there's no statute of limitations for murder. Would you hold these vampires under murder? They're murdering people to survive, right? So would those people, all these vampires that have been outed, wouldn't they be held, as murderers under, whatever?
oh, absolutely. Yeah. But good luck keeping them in jail.
Well, that was the whole thing. But the whole thing about that whole world was that vampires were trying to integrate into normal society and not drink from humans because that True Blood was created. That it's like it's a synthetic
was that
blood.
What's his name from Jurassic Park was in it?
Yeah.
I saw parts of that, but I don't remember. Didn't they find a cure at the end?
No, that was the opening act of the fucking. Like they found the synthetic blood.
Yeah, that True Blood, that they can survive on that True Blood, but then you have the purest vampires. They're like, that's not us. We're predators. And then there's the ones that are like, look, we can all just live together and not have to fucking deal
with this crap no more.
It's interesting. I can't remember how she responded, but there was a bunch of them.
Like 12 or 20 last.
There was quite a few. But I mean, she had a cool. I think her name is Charlene Harris. I met her once before. She's a cool lady, just an old lady who just wrote some books and they got popular.
I liked her Shakespeare series, A Town Named Shakespeare.
Who?
Charlotte
Anne
Harris.
Rice? Oh, okay.
Yeah, Charlene Harris or Charlotte
Anne
Harris.
Rice that kicked you from the stream.
I went through a bunch of Anne Rice novels.
She passed away not too long ago.
Those books are incredibly degenerate.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't she
all
like
Anne Rice's books
really Christian though? Like at the same time, but she's just like a bit horny when she writes her little vampire novels.
She just wrote a bunch of. She talked with a bunch of Christian priests or whatever, and
right.
They're all the rainbow Christians though, so
right.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember that movie, the one that RP Grandma was talking about, Night Watch, or it has the guy that
Nightbreed.
No, not Nightbreed. That wasn't vampires. That was just like monsters. It's the guy that was Explorers. Those kids. Ethan Hawke is in it.
Yeah,
like
The Lost Boys.
No, it was like 20.
I don't know. It's the first thing that popped into my head.
Yeah, but that's what Graham was talking about.
Ethan Hawke. Right? That's starting.
Pretty sure Ethan Hawke just is a vampire. Like I don't think he played one. I think he just actually is one.
I could see that.
So what about the last two things I got on my list when it comes to some of their advantages, and we'll talk about any that I missed, was their strength and speed, and then their healing abilities. Because, for the most part, they can withstand just about anything except running water, sunlight, holy water, stake through the heart. Otherwise, they just keep coming back.
So, Daybreakers. So check this out. Did you guys ever watch Ultimate Warrior? Where they would pit warriors of history against each other. They have Viking versus samurai, and they do whatever. The very last episode was vampire versus zombies, and they did
That's the bottom of the barrel right there.
Oh, dude, it's
Straight from the bottom of the
fantastic.
barrel.
It's great.
Yeah,
He's
I've
talking
seen a
about-
couple of them. They weren't that bad. They were all right.
They're great. They're
They're
fun.
alright.
They're stupid, but they're a lot of
Yeah,
fun. But
yeah,
they're like the biting strength
That's
of
a
a
good point, Al.
vampire
That's a good
equals
point. I
equals a
didn't think about that.
crocodiles, and they're like doing these like scientific things. But you need to watch it, Shadow, if you haven't seen it. Vampires versus
Okay.
zombies.
Okay.
great.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
'Cause
You could that would be a good thing to see, but this is a good point. You could always have like the same effects of a power, but executed different ways.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah.
like you said, speed. It could be you're perceiving them get closer, but in fact you're just zonked out for a second, and then they take like 3 steps closer to you, and then you're zonked out for a second, and they take 3 steps closer to you.
That's a thought-provoking one. I reckon L would be a good DM, like just thinking laterally.
Yeah.
And the strength, where they could just, like you said earlier, just pound on a door until it, eventually gives in, because they're not going to take the damage from. I mean, they could literally headbutt the door open for eternity. They're just going to heal,
Yeah.
I mean, is that actually plausible? Like, you guys are smarter than me. I mean, like, if you like karate punched a bulkhead with your hands, and let's say you can never be injured, but could you actually over time produce enough power to break that open?
If you had
maybe.
enough
I mean, if you're
pressure
super
to
strong.
dent the thing, like even if it's a very small dent, right?
Yeah.
You could just keep hitting, and even if you smashed your hand into nothing and it healed in moments
Immediately, yeah.
Yeah, you could just start making that dent a little deeper until the elasticity of the material breaks, right?
But the thing is I think of it like an ant. An ant could use his little ant hand to hit something for all eternity, but he just never produces enough power to actually do that. You think a vampire would produce enough power itself, even if it broke everything in it and then regenerated?
I think, to be honest, it would really matter on whether it's a supernatural or something else. If you got any bit of the supernatural in there, you're probably gonna have.
But isn't alien
it's not even
supernatural? I mean, any kind of
No.
alien, not
No,
natural
that's
to Earth is supernatural.
For this
No.
definition,
Yeah, they're like
this
supernatural
definition-
means like magic and shit, and like,
Yeah,
they're like
I always-
super strong.
Scientific
They
study or whatever.
they already got
That would
like
be
diamond
paranormal.
hard hands. They've already got super hard hands because they're vampires. They're like super strong.
Well, even if you're not giving them more physical strength beyond what the meat is capable of, like if you can make something shake, you can eventually break it with enough. You know what I mean? Like if you can make it wobble, it's thin enough for you to eventually bend it and then snap it. But that's why I say
aliens
go
that
through
aren't
the window.
alien
right? The little
vampires
chip.
that aren't super strong just aren't that scary. Like they have to be super strong.
Well,
It's like-
you give them the strength through relentlessness, right?
Well, like oh shit, what was it? What's the one?
They have to be a
that,
bit
like-
tougher than humans. Otherwise, it's just like, well, why did I even go to the
Remember that
trouble of
'90s movie?
getting my vampire certificate? Like,
Remember the '90s movie?
That there's
aliens would like get on your neck.
There's not
and then
having
control
weakness
you?
and super strength, right?
They were kind of like vampires.
Yeah. Like you would be surprised how strong you can be when you're not acknowledging exhaustion
pain.
and
just look at all the PCP stories of the 80s and 90s.
Right,
People
like-
were doing crazy stuff, and it just didn't matter because they didn't feel it. And their desire would overcome.
Oh yeah.
any sort of
So
pain.
Yeah, I heard
So-
I heard Celine Dion lifted a monster truck on PCP.
wonderful. So
Yeah.
Mac
and I can believe
mentions
she's
the
a vampire.
Hulk,
Have you
right?
seen her recently?
Mac mentions the Hulk, right? Talking about you can't break the Hulk. There's a
Yeah.
Wolverine and the Hulk are fighting, right? In Dallas, in fact. and Hulk or Wolverine is just sticking his claws in the Hulk,
And
and he
still haven't
realizes every
rebuilt
time
today.
he tries to pull out, the Hulk's skin is getting stronger and stronger because every injury it causes, it becomes stronger. So Wolverine's claws are getting stuck inside of the Hulk because that's how the Hulk does. He just keeps like healing stronger and stronger or whatever. It's pretty cool scene. That just reminded me of that scene.
But
People like, why is Wolverine fighting the Hulk? It's like, well, the Hulk just
I think
can't
that was
keep
the fall of the
freaking emotions in check.
storyline.
And I honestly thought that was way back. That was sort of like pre X-Men days. Wolverine and the Hulk was rampaging through Canada, and they just sent Wolverine.
That's the original. That's like original Hulk. I'm talking about. This was like 90s, 80s.
No, well,
issue.
That's just trying to rehash something that had happened before.
They should make a
have
comic.
you read a comic book?
They should make a comic where all the city halls get together and invoice the superheroes for all the damage they've done over the years to the building.
There's a comic called
Damage
Corporation.
Damaging. Yeah.
And it's exactly that. It's an insurance company, a construction company that comes in and fixes everything after the superheroes blow everything to hell. It's pretty good. It's a funny book.
Okay,
yeah, they referenced that in one of the Spider-Man movies with
L says if vampire muscles are that strong, the density at that thin physique would mean you'd never get a stake through the heart. I think that when they're at rest, that you're not flexing. And
it's not even that. Vampires have never been demonstrated to have that kind of healing power, like that kind of getting stronger every time they heal. They just heal really fast and like the PCP.
Yeah, no, I don't know where the stronger.
Well, I think reference to the Hulk comment Brian just.
Oh yeah, no. I think they have a set ability. If you want to throw levels in there as they get older, that's fine. Yeah. But their strength is going to be set for the scene, and
maybe they get more brittler as they get older.
Some older
vampires are weaker. Like
some series have that happen.
Okay, Flady, you got me rolling with this one. If we're discussing vampires, we really need to get Pelosi and Clinton on the panel to hear it from the monster's mouth.
Oh,
right.
Yeah. Well, Pelosi's. I don't know what Brian just did. And if Clinton
I think she's more of a lich.
If Clinton was here, it would just be the saxophone being poorly played.
I think he meant Hillary. Did you guys
I
ever see the Italian film Planet of the Vampires?
Yeah.
No, but I want to.
Yeah.
All Italian schlock horror is great. I like what Billy Connolly said, which is I don't vote, it only encourages them.
What you gotta do is you gotta vote third party. You gotta vote for the most extreme.
No, Baba Yaga is not a vampire. She's more of a hag, a witch.
Baba Yaga, check it out. I'm doing a weird World War II Baba Yaga. Instead of her
wow,
it's a T-26.
That is crazy. That is actually crazy. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I saw something the other day. I saw someone did like submarines, and for their last base, they literally just did like a wet base with a periscope, and I was like, "That's so clever."
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Where did you get that from, Brian?
This is actually an STL from KLT Studios. It's one of our sponsors. He sells STLs, and he did a Baba Yaga. That's his thing of weird World War II Baba Yaga.
It's hideous, but it's great.
Pretty cool. If you can't really see it, but the hatch is open and it's like an eye. It's like the chicken's eye.
It makes me kind of weirdly. It makes me weirdly peckish though. Like I'm looking at it thinking, "Yes, the chicken did go all right." Like
chicken.
We have discounts on there. He's a sponsor, so if you guys just go to my web blog and you can get the website.
Cool.
I'm not going to do that.
I know you're not.
Well, I don't print myself, but I know people who do.
There you go. Mm-hmm. There you go.
I do print myself.
Yeah, I've got to be careful.
But
because,
I have one rule. I have one rule. I only print statues of myself.
Okay. Your house is just full of like Kim Jong
It's
Il
like-
style
it's
busts. Yeah.
Justin, like
Yeah.
in his courturt, it's got like Lister in Red Dwarf. He's like pissing, like he's got this giant statue.
But instead of water,
I
it's
am
like
Lister.
root beer.
I am Lister. But
Why are there so many flies and why is everything sticky? I'm sorry, man. It's the root beer fountain. It's been running for 3 years.
Lister was regarded as not that smart, but he survived, and he invented a
And no
lot
one
of
else
things
did.
to do. He invented
Yeah,
a
he
lot
did.
of things to do when you have a lot of
What's
like
up, Owen?
freeze-dried curry and not very much washing powder. But
That's true.
and
drinking coffee with dog's milk.
exactly.
Great show. Best sci-fi show ever, man. Seriously. Great writing. It's fantastic.
It absolutely was.
My head's
one
not that big, bro.
The great thing is like
split it up
with
into
the
multiple times.
with the newest Red Dwarfs, I think like nobody was interested in like nobody's actually seen whether they spun it out so much, because with all sci-fi properties, the fans are so demanding and hungry. You end up with like multiple reboots and comebacks, and
Yeah.
it kind of kills the mystery a bit. But like I think with Red Dwarf, like nobody cared enough to like. It's just you can't beat the original and the best.
I mean,
OG
they're
flavor.
not bad. I mean, the latest series isn't bad, and then the movie's mediocre. But I mean, I think you're right to a point where the fans are demanding it, right? But when it came out, you're like in love with it. It's like it's your old friends coming back.
Yeah.
But I do think
Because when they were on Earth and dealing with the TV show and all that, I was like, you guys.
When it was getting very meta, I was like, I'm just not smart enough to follow what's going on anymore.
It's complex, dude. That's some complex writing. I mean, there's some points.
Craig Charles said people would come up to him and say, "Oh, but you got the flu in season 4. Like, how come you were doing this in season 5?" And he's like, "I don't know, man. Like,
I'm just an actor." That's funny.
Yeah.
That just sounds icky, Grandma. Sorry. How about races that collect other fluids from races, keeping them alive?
Classic sci-fi, guys. I Come in Peace with Dolph Lundgren's in that. But there's an alien that comes to Earth, and he's a drug dealer, right? But what he does is he injects people. He stole this big thing of heroin, right? He injects people with heroin, and then he extracts the endorphins that heroin causes in a human, extracts the endorphins out of the brain, and that's the drug that he sells, that his people take. And an alien cop comes here to try to stop it. It's a great movie. If you've never seen it,
I have.
That was soft disclosure.
I'm not touching that comment, El. I hope you understand.
Synth music is cool all the time.
I love
every day. Yeah.
I like Pilot, Gunship. Magic Sword. Those are pretty good.
Definitely
like all the retro wave
has a couple of different names.
No worries, El. So we talked about their massive advantages. Now, how about the few disadvantages? Actually,
I would not want to be a vampire because it's like you can't go outside. Wood is bad.
I rarely do that anyway.
You gotta drink people's blood.
The food sucks.
Yeah,
the food sucks.
Like,
I don't know. I don't
unless you want to spend a lot of time in like sort of semi cryogenic sleep, like
you're
pretty much always hanging out for a fix, right? Like you need to go get a fix, otherwise it's like being addicted to something.
I would love to be able to sleep as often as a vampire does.
Yeah,
I would kill.
there is that.
I would kill at least 3 people a week to sleep as much as a vampire does.
Definitely Canadian.
You know, that's
Actually,
a good point, Al.
as a Canadian,
I am proud of that.
you can go to the doctor and be like, I haven't been sleeping that well. And they're like, have you considered killing yourself?
Al brought up, how does a vampire get into a spaceship or a new world? Who invited it?
Well, you know, the thing with vampires is they tend to really be good at intergenerational wealth since they're all the generations involved.
Yeah, like Max says,
so they can afford to buy their own spaceship.
It was Malcolm's home. But couldn't a vampire, hypnotize somebody into inviting them in? I'm almost certain.
No. So
it's just
if you
like
follow that. If you follow that dogma, they have to be a willing. They have to let you in from their own free will. You can't put the zapping on them.
But
they got to do it themselves.
It's just like that episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer where Spike shows up at Buffy's house and knocks on the door, and that stupid little brat sister that she got in the later series just said, "Come in and try it, bro." And he's like, "Oh, thanks for the invitation," because she was too stupid to realize what she was saying.
Yeah, I'm trying to find Plan 9 there, Minnie.
Plan 9 from outer space.
Yeah. I saw it once upon a time, and I was trying to watch it the other day, but then I lost it. I don't remember if it was on YouTube.
Plan 9's great.
Yeah, it is.
You can get it. You can get it on the same DVD as the Ed Wood movie with like.
It's free on YouTube all over the place.
Yeah. That's where I saw it on YouTube.
Might even be on Internet Archive, like where everything without a copyright on it ends up, right? Like all those old Hollywood educational films, like this man is a homosexual. Avoid him at all costs.
It's just like an actual list of people who are.
Welcome to the show, Luke.
But no. The way you would get.
You're not a dirty woman, are you?
It's public domain, that movie. So.
The way you would get invited on another spaceship in space is as a vampire.
A ticket. You just buy a ticket.
Yeah, well, like if you're a vampire with your own spaceship, you've got it looking like a derelict, and you hit the old distress call beacon, and you just lie in bed. I'm ill. I'm sick. I'm dying.
Yeah, you're like,
and then they bring you into their med bay, and you're like,
things are really bad. I need you to rescue me like ASAP. Yeah, could you be here in like an hour? Sweet. Okay. And he just puts the phone down. Laziest vampire.
In space, you don't need to go to other people's houses. They bring them to you.
Dude, could you do like a Logan's Run? Can I just like dial you in and bite your neck? Thanks, man.
Oh.
I got a lot on right now, so appreciate it.
A lot on right now.
Running from the interplanetary police.
Yeah.
They're goofy in their goofy blue and white tactical style.
Space invader ships.
Yeah.
No. We all watched. We all played with Legos back in the 80s and 90s.
Oh, yeah.
The Space Police had black with.
My role-playing wargaming really hasn't evolved past that point. Like it's still the same principle as at play.
Hey, what do you mean? I was playing with Legos. I was playing with Legos with Jackie just like 5 years ago.
Well, they used to have a range called Space Police.
I remember that one. Yeah.
Fritz was painting a tank on one of his streams, and I was like, dude, can you just stop for a second and like make some tank noises, maybe drive it around for a bit? Thanks. Yeah, that's it.
But no. Seriously,
good to know. Crafting, good to know. I heard they're really hard to mix. So, what about some of the other weaknesses? Sunlight, holy symbols, running water. Running water, I don't think that's not going to be a big deal out in space. You just, avoid
Garlic.
those.
Yeah. Well, it's not even
Christian
that.
rock.
Christian rock. Well, that's pretty easy to avoid everywhere.
Even Jesus is like, dude, could you just put on some reggae or something? Come on, man. Like, seriously.
Well,
Like, I
not
didn't give you
reggae.
okay to talk about me and your music, so retract all that
Mm.
shit. I didn't sign a
Waterworld,
release.
yeah, that's a good point. That would suck. Yeah,
Well, it's not running water though, or
It has to be
flowing
running
water.
water, yeah.
Yeah. That's pretty much all one ocean.
so what
I
does
think
that mean?
someone raised earlier the good example of like in a very sciencey kind of environment that's very
Yeah.
driven by technology, like maybe the spiritual is like much more effective against them than like conventional weapons and stuff like that. You know,
Mhm.
if you have a
Yeah.
priest on board or a member
Yeah,
of
because
the
like machine
Brotherhood,
guns, right. Machine guns and even mortars and crap like that, unless it's the heart thing, and if you blow up the heart, then fine. But if it's just like the way it normally is, it's got to be a wooden stake. That's why in
Well,
Palladium they actually have guns that fire wooden bullets. I know it's
Well,
ridiculous.
in our weird war, we have an army of the Vatican army. And what they do is everybody in that military, they're all sanctioned by the Pope and the Holy See and all that shit, and they're all blessed by everything, right? And so like whenever there's like vampiric entities on the battlefield or whatever, the Holy See dispatches this elite commando unit with flamethrowers and like holy bullets. They're like they're almost like hollow points.
can you make like a mech of St. Peter's Basilica, like with the dome?
Yeah,
Hell, that's like Warhammer. The Sisters of Battles mechs. They're all like some cathedral shit.
Yeah.
let's go back to the water thing. Max says we all failed a hydrology class. Why do you think Drac sailed to England in a coffin? He couldn't cross the current-ridden ocean. I always thought that it was more of a he had to hide. Might as well put him in a coffin with his dirt. And
yeah, he had to hide during the daytime, so he just went in stowage. Yeah.
I mean, because
yeah.
he could, why wouldn't he just pay for the best room on the ship, and just
because it would probably freak out half the crew that this one guy.
That's like Terror Train. That's a whole movie about.
In the Tom Baker episode I talked about earlier, the vampires grew to like really large size, like almost kind of to the size of like a moon. And what the Time Lords originally did was build like these kamikaze ships that had like a point on the end that would just go straight through the heart. And I think by the end of the episode, he'd programmed the rocket to like take off and go through.
I gotta watch this episode.
One. Yeah, like
it's a multi-part one.
Yeah, most of them were.
He could also just fly as a bat in a couple hours over, certain bodies of water. Right?
Yeah.
He didn't want to get his pant cuffs wet. It creeps him out. Okay, very funny.
But yeah,
he had a lot of.
Did you guys watch the last voyage?
You cut off at the end there, Brian. We got last voyage.
Fritz, I don't think anybody mentioned Shadows of Brimstone, or were you talking about something else? SBS.
Shadows of Brimstone.
What I was talking about, the last voyage of the Demeter movie.
I think I've seen that.
It's about Dracula's the ship he sailed on from Transylvania to England. It's mediocre. I think it started off solid, like this is gonna be cool. This is about the crew of the Demeter, because like in the book, it just crashes on the coast and Dracula's in Europe, right, or in England. But this kind of gives a story about
the comment minute, Omen, because that's a really good one. But
anyway,
because I'm totally at sea when it comes to the whole water thing. It doesn't really make any sense why a river is all that different from an ocean.
That there's some like supernatural, like old fairy stuff. Like, there's a lot of stuff thrown onto the vampire lore that comes from different places, and then it's just kind of mushed together.
Yeah, in some parts of Celtic mythology, you can't cast spells across running water. Like, I know that much. Like,
Yeah,
I can't throw a magic missile at you across a river because it just
it hits
current.
that.
There's something about the magnetic qualities of the current that disrupt magic or something like that.
Okay, that's just
Yeah.
weird. Okay,
Well,
I'm gonna go back to what Omen said because I was thinking about this earlier. Rabies have many parallels to vampire lore. Rabies causes hydrophobia, hence vampires afraid of water. I could see that, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That'd be a very
That's a cheek scratcher.
Well,
Right,
there's
right.
actual like literature on that with the rabies thing,
right.
and it was
Yeah, so-
it was used in the Underworld movies. That theory.
really.
I think at that
Yeah,
age, I
that's
was
the
just
lore in
like
the
too
Underworld.
busy looking at Kate Beckinsale. What happened to
Yeah.
her? Did she get Weinsteined or something?
I'm pretty sure.
You know, there's at least
They
a
all got
50-50
Weinstein.
chance of that. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was either Weinstein or one of his cousins. Oh, fucking Hollywood.
Yeah.
Oh.
Are
RPG
they still
Grammar
on strike?
No, they
Does
sadly came to an agreement.
Does anybody
Sadly.
care, or is just everybody just watching stuff from like before 1999?
Well, I care because I wanted the whole system to crash, burn, and implode and explode, and I wanted a bunch of suicides, and I don't even mean like
AI is gonna change the world, brother. Especially against those guys.
Every
Yeah,
time I look at Prime Video, it's like, here are some more movies about World War II. Like, it knows what I like. It doesn't bother me with these
Think
other
about
things.
this, guys. Think about this. So, like, they're doing all these strikes and shit to try to get securities against AI, the writers and all that shit. Well, think of this. What's going to happen is like okay, so it's going to force the big movie companies to do that. Like, oh, we got to have humans do it. But you know what's going to happen? Justin is going to get the AI. He's going to be prolific in how to work it all, and he's just going to make a fucking movie of his own and just put it on YouTube. That's it. He doesn't have to go to distributors. He doesn't have to do shit. He just creates it in his fucking laptop at home with his computer and his AI.
What's this laptop?
And he just puts it on.
Do I look like a
well,
whore
whatever.
to you?
But you just put it on YouTube and you just cha-ching, 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 cha-ching.
Yeah.
That's it.
Well, I mean,
that's fucking it.
It's probably gonna disrupt everything and then be sucked back up into the process of using it as just a tool to like start things. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well,
like,
it's not even that.
In the long run, everyone will kind of get over it and then go, okay, well, I'm just going to use it to like draw an aperture that I'm going to draw over. You know, like whatever.
People do that. That's good. But
yeah.
We're all into miniatures here, and there's already like work in the creating a 3D mesh from an image, right? So you use an AI to create an image of a character you want, and then you use another AI to turn it into a 3D model that you 3D print. So that's one thing that will revolutionize, like
everything will get turned on its head, and then I think everyone will just kind of go back to like hand making things because that'll become novel again.
Well, like
there'll always be a market for that. There'll always be those who appreciate the skill of someone, actually doing it by hand. But then it's like me, if I want to create a Baba Yaga on a T30, T26 body artwork, I can do it myself You know what I mean?
Because the thing about FTLs is that they're like amazing levels of detail, and like you can get fine levels of detail in there that are quite good. But like hand sculpted models, even though they can look a bit derpy sometimes, like they have a lot of personality. You know, like
you can get that kind of personality into 3D sculpting. It's just it takes less work than hand sculpting, but more work than making a 3D model that is cold, like emotionally cold. So unless you intentionally want to do that, there's no point in doing it.
Yeah.
If you want, like, I want the style of Jess Goodwin, Space Marines, whatever, right? And you for however you do it, you're able to manipulate the program to emulate Jess Goodwin's sculpting style.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I have a soft spot for the odd goober model, you know, where I'm just like, oh, this guy's
the
funny
legs
chin
are thin, and
you know, yeah.
Some of the old sculptors had a style all their own, and I think it's only a matter of time before, you know, the
Harry Brothers have a distinct
before people are able to you know put that into the 3D, you know,
I'm really sad right now.
Technology. Okay, so I think we've beaten water to death for the most part.
Like the Emperor Xerxes.
I still don't understand it.
If you're doing a game, just don't include it. I wouldn't.
No, Elric was not a vampire. He became something far more dangerous. Now, we kind of touched on sunlight, but at the very beginning.
What about Moonlight, Good Times, and Boogie?
What?
Well, you know, think of this. What about Moonlight? Moonlight's just reflected sunlight. Why doesn't that hurt vampire?
I think there is some sort of religious significance in that.
I also don't think you're getting the direct radiation, like in both the religious and the scientific. You know, like the religious.
Has anyone checked the dark side of the moon for like vampire colonies?
No. There's Indian.
Probably there.
Indian gas station there.
Yeah. Werewolf colony on the moon. Constantly werewolves up there.
The dark side of the moon is where 7-Eleven comes from.
Okay.
That's why their Cornish pasties are so good.
So that brings us to wood. What's the deal with wood?
I've got it right now.
You guys are killing me.
You guys are killing me.
Because they're you know, I've seen, for example, for the most part, like semi-auto crossbows, things like that. There's all kinds of ways to, you know, use wood as projectiles and just use the shotgun effect to, you know, literally just pepper
I like the John Carpenter's vampires way, where, like, you know, the goons would just open up, like, just machine gun the shit out of him while they're getting, you know, chopped up. And the other guy just
the guy that wrote the book.
What about Mercury and silver tipped, like, modern arms? You know what I mean? Like, you got your little
Mercury
SEAL team going in there with their MP5s and stuff like that, but they've got like silver tipped bullets.
Right. I was someone had mentioned earlier that in I forget what movie he was talking about. I'm sorry, guys. Where they used ultraviolet liquid or something in the tips of the bullets. Well, right. Well, why not just you know, just put, you know, have a priest or something bless the bullets.
That's what we did. Like the Vatican hit, like the Vatican commandos.
Freaking crosses at the you know, the tip of your bullets. You know,
they're holy. They're in other words, like the Holy See. You know, like it's everything they have on them. Their blades, their bullets.
Weirdos.
Everything has been like it's been like
weirdos.
I like that in Salem's Lot.
Oh yeah, that's a great movie.
Well, the book, but I think in the movie it was pretty close. The one with Rob Lowe was better.
Oh, that was pretty good. The remake one wasn't bad.
Well, it was closer to the book. But the one character lifts up the cross and the vampire laughs at him. And the vampire's like, he's like, why isn't it working? And the vampire's like, you're an atheist. It has no power. It's not
many, many instances you have to have the faith to back it up with the holy symbol.
The symbol is just like a focal point. It's not.
There has to be real faith behind it. Or
so if you're doing like an actual religious thing, you could have that tie in there.
Or
yeah.
In essence, it can almost be anything that you hold dear in a religious context.
Right,
it could be a necklace. It could be a bracelet. Anything.
In that one episode of Doctor Who, the Russian guy, he pulled off his red star emblem and used that to turn them because his faith was in communism, and that seemed to work.
It doesn't work if it's not a 6-point star.
Like in the Mummy, where Ben had all the different religious things trying to turn the mummies with different symbols. I do believe that depending on the group, you use whatever you're all comfortable with, I guess, or whatever. If you're making a movie, then I would go with the traditional tropes. It just
what the hell?
out in a sci-fi environment, that's going to be like we all said, that's going to be one of the things that's just not even going to be a thing. No one's even going to contemplate.
What you could really do is say only Christianity does it. So like that would put another layer of difficulty for these futuristic, party trying to acquire something quote unquote Christian
when they're all Buddhists or
right, depending on the planet or the situation. And vampires would easily be able to, before they land on a planet, bring up the information about the planet and go look up religion and go, oh, this is going to be easy pickings. We just land.
It could
too many. I try to avoid too many references to like real religions in games, just because of out of respect, I suppose. But
it's a game, dude. It's just it's
the
truth of the creature.
Yeah, I don't know. I just kind of
that's why I prefaced it with depending on your group, that sort of thing. Which is funny that we've got two people arguing the point, but who would normally argue otherwise.
I'm an atheist, but I equate the mythology of Christianity associated with the vampire monster, and I can respectfully say, well, only Christianity can affect this.
I'm just a lapsed Catholic, and I kind of
feel
like
I won't be
everybody I know is putting their religion into the games, and I'm it's kind of weird. I know a lot of people who are kind of working that into a fantasy world, and I'm kind of
that's why I said it. It depends on the group, it depends on the setting. Think about Call of Cthulhu. That is always an Earth-based situation. You're gonna bring those kinds of things in. Well, in a sci-fi game, if it's based on a universe where there's Earth, then you might want to say that's the way we're gonna go. What's up, Squirrel?
Squirrel. It also depends on how fanatically hardcore you are with it. If you're it's Christianity, you need a cross. That's one thing. It was you need to have a tabernacle and a.
I realize I'm being highly strung because even things like Weird World War II, I love it when Brian does it, but I don't necessarily feel like it's for me. You know what I mean?
No, I get it, and trust me, I'm vilifying a lot about flippantly talking about big titty Nazi she wolves and like,
Yeah, why do those
you know,
Nazis have to be evil, bro?
Yeah, and
whatever,
like,
damn.
I think
and like,
I think the whole conversation should be like anti-fragile. Like, I do agree with that, but for some reason, it's just, I don't know. Like, I've noticed
it's conditioned,
people putting
dude.
their
They're
religion
getting to you,
into games.
man.
Yeah,
Kinda
you're
weird to me.
educated wrong on purpose.
Oh, okay. Well, I was raised in Australia, so like I'm upside down,
That's why
Well,
again,
like-
I preface it.
You're not
you
upside
have
down. You live inside the hollow earth.
It's like even with weird World War II, like I see so much stuff that I'm like, oh, that's really cool, but then I'm like, should I be doing this or should I be like trying to be accurate? Like,
But what you
because it wasn't that
got to
long ago,
realize
like-
that this is a
No.
fantasy setting. Weird World War II is a fantasy setting. It's
Yeah.
not meant to reproduce. It follows the history, but it's not mimicking. It's not even mocking it. It's just adding to a fantasy element to it. And it's
So
just,
I could just theoretically just be accumulating a lot of unknown soy in my diet and just be like sensitive about it for no reason.
Yeah.
Well,
Like,
check
okay,
this out.
cool.
So I
I
think
gotta
I've
ask
talked
you a
about this
serious
before.
question, bro. How
Well,
often do you think of Rome?
Let me ask you this. So I was on this
Every
website.
day, actually, I'm working on some Romans right now, but like
Well,
I'm
listen to
doing
this.
Julius Caesar's army in 28
So I'm
mil,
not the
baby.
only male on the panel.
Let me ask you this, man. Let me ask you this. So I was talking to some guys, and I said Japs, right? And he freaked out and said that it's racist. I'm like, how is Japs racist? First of all, Japan isn't a race, right? And this guy
The
was
Japanese
British,
are.
and I said, if I called you a Brit, am I being racist?
Well, I
no, it's
make
just an
those kind of-
abbreviation.
I've got
It's just
Japanese.
Freaking
I've got
abbreviation.
Japanese
yeah.
family. I've got Japanese family, and it's kind of funny because like they married into the side that were like fighting them like 25 years beforehand, right? And it's it was kind of unusual for the time that like my aunt married into like a Japanese family, but we make those jokes around my uncle all the time. He thinks they're funny. The only thing that I can't stand, and I actually do have like a weirdly like atypically kind of leftist triggered moment is when I see the Warlord Games Japanese figures because they look like Mickey Rooney pulling a face. Like they don't look like Japanese people.
Well, man, think about that.
Well,
how do
they have
you sculpt a
mustaches?
Japanese? Well, no, seriously. How do you sculpt an Asian face without being racist?
Well, you don't like get a little trundle wheel and like squish it down like that. Like I don't know what they did, but it seriously looks like Mickey Rooney going, "Ha! I am Imperial Japanese Army."
Racist.
I've got to get a bunch of those miniatures now because I am not going to be able to see anything else besides James here.
You just see me
pretending to
paint
be
one to
Mickey
look
Rooney
like me.
making a Japanese face.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to see Mickey Rooney.
You gotta
I'm gonna
see their
you
Koreans,
pretending.
dude. Look at their Korean models. They're even worse.
Do they look like
Absolutely
those?
squirrel.
They're like
Those
really like
communist propaganda
yeah, it's
posters.
bad.
Yeah,
It's hilarious.
yeah. I don't know. It's weird because the
Well-
samurai don't really look like that. So, like, they've got a kind of almond eye or whatever, but they don't look like they're blowing steam out of their buck teeth.
Oh, Warlord has this one head that's the Tojo, propaganda.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got the glasses and everything. Like, yeah. I'm like,
No, it means barbarian, Mac.
It's funny. I mean, is it offensive or it's just funny? It's just
You know what? The whole planet needs to lighten its ass up. Pull the collective
well, this is the
stick
thing.
out.
I'm only bringing
and-
it up because maybe I do. Like, maybe I am just being like, finicky about it.
It doesn't
Maybe I
have
do
to
need
be like
line up.
an affront. If I have a Nazi symbol on a tank, it's showing, because they're Nazis and that's what they put on their shit or whatever. It's not. I'm not advocating the policies or the politics.
As for playing,
but you know what I mean.
As for playing the Nazis, there was some controversy over that like a while back. Some guy like brought it up as an issue, but he was advertising a World War II game on his video at the same time, and it was just like, that doesn't ring very.
cold weather minis or whatever, cold mountain minis or some shit.
It
Yeah.
didn't seem very
It wasn't
sincere.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like his
And it was
girlfriend was like, I don't want to
It
pay
was
the
kind of like
Nazis.
maybe you guys are looking for
Yeah.
Nazis, like where there just aren't any Nazis, and you should stay
Like
away
I'm
from
standing right
historical
here
gaming
going,
forever.
waving my arms back and forth, bro. Like I'm jumping up and
Like, I
down. making
probably-
fun.
When it comes to like World War II Germans, like you're gonna paint them the way you're gonna paint them. I probably wouldn't do SS because I'm just not that interested in those theaters,
But
particularly. More of a
but if you-
Fallschirmjäger kind of guy.
and that's fine. But the thing is,
You
is
know?
like if you're playing certain World War II battles, the SS were part of it, man. So were the Fallschirmjäger.
Yeah, I mean,
You
how
know,
are you
so-
supposed to? How are you supposed to, play these games? What are you only allowed to, have the allies fight each other? Is that what they're
Well,
trying
you
to?
just model.
man.
You just model a little wire flower in every gun barrel or something. maybe.
And like a stogie, like a joint hanging out of their mouth.
Yeah.
This is the wrong
Yeah.
word, but still.
And you just put like peace symbols on all the tanks or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think
I mean,
the
I'm
world,
always willing to have those conversations and go, is it stupid to even like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't really
yeah, it's
like.
I don't
I don't think I'm right about very much, to be honest.
trust me, I've been vilified a lot, dude. I've been in YouTube jail over all sorts of shit. I've been stricken on my YouTube channel for showing like hate speech. I'm just like, what the
That's
Let's
stupid.
put it in context. This is weird
But
World
you
War
just
II.
do battle reports, and it's not like you're representing any sort of
What?
ideology.
No, I'm
What the
not.
hell got you? What the hell got you struck for hate speech?
I think they're a bit too.
No, that was
too,
YouTube.
like, trigger
Or
happy with
Facebook,
that sort of
Facebook.
thing.
Facebook. What?
Yeah,
What did they strike you for?
Okay, you know what it was? It was historical fucking documented pictures of the Battle of the Bulge. That's it.
That's silly.
That's it.
That's
That
just
was
like
it.
how you're supposed to talk about it without a visual reference. It's like,
That
you know,
that's
there's one.
simple, James.
doesn't matter.
There's
They
one
don't want you
YouTube
to
channel.
talk about it at all. Think about it.
There's one
Yeah.
There's no
YouTube channel that
context
does
in
no.
anything they
wargaming.
do.
You got to repeat
There's one
the narrative.
YouTube channel that does wargaming, and they always have just the one photo up, and like the interviews and stuff they do are really good. But I'm like, oh, I wish they'd put some pictures up, like, you know.
Well, like in my battle reports, I put the
That's a good
national
question.
flags
I'll
for fighting,
pull that up and
and
see.
I put the Nazi Germany flag right next to like the Soviet flag or the American flag or the British
I've watched
flag.
some of yours. I really like your table. I like your
thanks, man.
conversions. I like your narratives. I think the thing with me is actually more like, if I'm being honest with myself, I feel like I have to do more of the foundational just World War II gaming before I can even contemplate like weird World War II. You know what I mean?
The good thing about weird World War II is you don't have to worry about historical accuracy.
That's it.
So you don't have to like anything that's inaccurate about your game. You wave away.
If I'm
with,
not
like,
suffering and taking on like a large research project that I have no hopes of finishing, like I'm not really having a good time.
If I'm not getting a university
That's
degree,
That's another thing. It's like weird World War II doesn't have to be vampires and walkers. It can just be the invasion of England. Operation.
Well,
Sea
there's
Lion.
always the
Or-
interesting question of like, what if the Soviets like tried to go on to the rest of Europe and like they ended up opposed to the Allies again immediately,
Well,
or they more or less were,
that's right.
right? So
it's like that old game. That old game I mentioned, that campaign I had where our good buddy Oswald became prime minister.
you
of
love
England.
that guy.
I love Oswald, man.
He cuts a good figure in World War I uniform. But I wouldn't trust him with my wife. Let's just put it that way.
I think this was the TV shows. I think a lot of that's overblown.
Have you watched the interviews with him and Lady Diana later? Like, I think they were kind of. I think a lot of the British people who kind of had like a leaning towards fascism, like, ended up kind of realizing that it was a kind of non-starter ideologically. Like,
I think fascism was really the natural against the communism. So that was kind of what was happening. Is like, look, if we want to go against communism, let's the fascism is a way to go.
The problem with it though is that it's also a postmodern philosophy. So
I just want to say I did not start this diversion down the topic.
No,
Yeah.
it's
but
okay.
yeah.
Because
we can flip on the vampires. So like, think about this in the weird World War II setting. Who would be more apt to work with the vampires? It would probably
the
be
Allies. The Allies.
It would be fascist regimes, right? Or even Russia or Soviet Union, because you have mass subjugation of certain peoples, certain populations, and certain even POWs that can be fed to these people for dark gifts.
It depends on what the vampires are. It depends on what the vampires are like. If the vampires are like aristocratic, then maybe the Russians are like forcing them at gunpoint. It's like the red, white terror kind of situation.
It's like, get out of the worker farms, join the collective farms.
If the Germans view like vampirism as a positive mutation, like, then you're sweet. But if they view it as kind of an anomaly, then you're kind of screwed.
I think they would.
Hey, Brian.
And all the shit that we blamed the Reich for, the Allies did first. No, I'm not even joking. The Allies did do first and worse.
Hey, Brian, check out the comment I got up on the screen.
Oh,
okay.
Hitler
And then Grandma put in this one.
Yeah, there's a great 2000 AD is a comic book company. They did Fiends of the Eastern Front, which is this whole story about how the Soviets, or actually I think it was the Romanians, were using vampires to fight. It's pretty interesting. It's true. I mean, as insensitive. Listen, no, seriously. Like Grandma put that up. In the PC world that we live in, that's an insensitive comment. But in a fantastical, fictitious World War II, that is an exact possibility for vampires to be drawn to, because these people hold these people as nothing. So let's feed on them for that kind of shit.
What if the vampires are in it for themselves? They're kind of a fourth faction or whatever that kind of exploit the violence and the disappearance of people in wartime, and are kind of returning because of almost like a silver bayonet situation, where like in the silver bayonet, like the Napoleonic Wars have gone on for so long and been destructive that it's actually created a kind of rift in space kind of scenario. So all these paranormal creatures are kind of spilling into the real world.
Was that a game? The Silver Bayonet?
Yeah, that is.
Yeah.
I have to check that out.
It's weird. Napoleonics.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you could adapt it to like the Alamo or like anything that's horse, foot, and guns.
Man, what's great is about if you fall into the weird category, you can just go culturally. Like in my world, it's similar to the Bayonet, where the horror and the death and the terror has caused whatever, and these supernatural entities are manifesting in the areas that they were thought of. So like like in like Transylvania, vampires are popping up, and in Greece, there's nymphs and minotaurs. In the Americas, you have like skinwalkers and wendigos. Up in the you got trolls and dwarves up in like the Nordic, the Scandinavian country. That's cool, because what you can do is you can just draw from historical fantasy and just rip it into your gaming.
I don't know. I think that sounds too much like L's or James's desire for scholarly research. That sounds
James. there's been a many a night where I'm on YouTube, or not YouTube, but Wikipedia, looking up folklore of certain countries. I'm like, ooh, that would make a cool
I want
monster.
to demystify. I want to demystify the historical thing, but now and forever. If you can fall asleep listening to 8 hours of Warhammer lore, you can watch a 2-hour documentary about a period that you're interested in.
Hey, Brian, check this out. Check this out. Last night, me and the boys ended up watching Saving Private Ryan, and I was amazed how many actors I saw in there. Did you guys know that Nathan Fillion was in that movie, Saving Private Ryan?
I don't know.
No.
Who is he?
You know who Nathan Fillion is, right?
Yeah. What character? What was he in?
He played the first Private Ryan when they found that kid and they thought he was Ryan, but he had
they thought it was him, the paratrooper.
That was Nathan Fillion.
Wow.
Vin Diesel was in it. He was the guy who got killed trying to save bring that little girl.
What did you think of Band of Brothers?
You know what? That's next on the boys' list. They saw they were going to watch that and realized it was like really, really long. They're like, okay, no, we're going to watch.
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it.
You know what?
I'm actually not a fan of either.
What
Really?
my favorite part of Band of Brothers
not just that
was were the interviews of the people, the actual old guys. I would like cry. They were just little like couple minutes blurbs of the actual guys.
I had a few kind of damp-eyed moments watching it. Yeah,
dude.
It's pretty heavy. Yeah.
Well,
war is hell, man, and no one needs to do it.
I'm only cut out to simulate it. Like that's.
That's why the only war that I want to do is on the tabletop. That's it.
Absolutely.
That's kind of why I want to go with the weird Western. I told you guys about the other night. That's it's been my thing. I just didn't realize it was my thing, forever. And it's such
there are no trenches in the Wild West. There are no trenches in the Wild West.
Right.
You can look forward to a hot bath and like a player piano at the end of the day, right?
And a cheap whore. Yeah, right.
Yeah, man, it's just a little herpes.
We just watched.
You're only gonna live to 40 anyways, right?
Have you watched Lonesome Dove or Comanche Rose?
I've seen some of Lonesome Dove, but not all of it.
It's good, man.
I'm trying to catch up. There's a lot. I thought I had seen it all, and I'm like not even close. But
I'll have to send you
welcome
some
to the show, Joe. How you doing?
I'll have to send you some artisan design cowboys.
Oh, dude,
they're really good.
Great.
They're really good.
Yeah, anything artisan is fantastic.
Shadows of Brimstone has opened up so much because I can literally use that for taking the weird to other weird places. That was what it was all about. Is you go into these mines and there's portals sometimes, and sometimes these portals lead to other places. Ancient Japan or hell, or
you can even do Weird West down. Quigley goes down to Australia.
Oh yeah, dude.
He teams up with the Aborigine.
I found some Ned Kelly miniatures. It's like the Australian outlaw with the iron bucket helmet and the iron breastplate that he made out of like a boiler plate or something like that. Yeah.
Fantastic, dude. You can do it's weird. Is just especially if you're like a role player, like a fantasy role player or fantasy war gamer. It's just
in a very undergraduate way. Yes, like
you can just
at a beginner's level. Yes, I am those things.
Did I miss something?
I don't think so.
Okay.
Tombstone, fantastic. Deadwood, awesome show.
Deadwood, I think
Tombstone was pretty good, actually.
I know it wasn't a great one, but I kind of have a soft spot for Silverado. It's got that it's got that Three Musketeers vibe going to it. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if it was more inspirational than we're aware of. But
How
I
do you
like
feel
that
about
idea.
how do you feel about the Three Amigos?
The
Um,
Three Amigos with
I have to show that to my son, and then we'll never speak of it again. Um,
I think they made a sequel to that.
Really?
You know what? Chevy Chase just I didn't even like him when I watched the original first years of SNL. There was just
I don't
something
think
about
Chevy
him.
Chase likes Chevy Chase.
I know Chevy Chase doesn't like Chevy Chase.
Yeah.
Neither.
But you know
The
the
guy
whole
is
West,
so self-destructive.
the whole Western thing just really lends itself to the adventuring party. If you think of all the great movies,
Yeah.
you know, and then if you throw weird into it, you know, instead of so much, I mean, yeah, you could do a lot of skirmish games. And thanks again, James, for showing me that one earlier. But
Which
for a
one?
role playing situation, the one with the game that you were showing me,
Oh, What a Cowboy! Yeah.
What a
Yeah.
cow! That's the one I was talking about the other day. What a cowboy!
you know, since I'm more of an RPG guy, you know, Boot Hill
Three
was
rules?
really an underrated game because they just didn't know where to go with it, I guess. Yeah, Old West Cthulhu. That is Shadows of Brimstone. And
Well, the guys
it just,
who make What a
Deadwood,
Cowboy
too.
do good rules. Like I have their American Civil War rules and I have their Napoleonic rules, and they're very clever. Like
all of the Magnificent Sevens.
I don't know how What a Cowboy shakes out, but I know that they've found that it adapts to a whole bunch of things quite well. Which is
It uses a deck of playing cards.
Mm-hmm.
How does that work? Like,
Isn't it like
It's
random
for like
initiative?
activations and stuff.
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, played exactly. Clint Eastwood fighting vampires would have been epic. And
Yeah, definitely.
of you goddamn
Well, you know, Clint Eastwood did a weird war. You know, High Plains Drifter. That's weird war. He's like a wraith
Pale Rider.
or Pale Rider. Pale Rider. He's a wraith.
Yeah,
He returns back to that town, exacts his revenge, and then he disappears again. That's what wraiths do, or revenants, vengeance ghosts.
I got to run, but
Batman.
I'll catch you
Take
guys
care.
on
We're
the
about
flip
to-
side.
we're about to end the show
I'll be
anyway.
listening in.
We're only going to go
Right on,
for another
man.
13, and then I'm going to head over to Nathan's show where you can talk
Yeah.
about
All right.
weird modern stuff, I guess. But it was great having
No
you on the
worries.
show.
Good to
Yeah,
see
man.
you
Same
all
spot for
again.
Monday.
Yeah, it's good
All
to
right.
see you.
Catch you later.
Don't be a stranger.
See ya.
Take care, buddy.
Enjoy the bolt head.
Oh, that's weird.
What?
You guys okay with that? Is that uncomfortable? That's just weird as shit. And I don't know if anybody's noticed, but my pupils are white. You guys see that
Yeah, they
shit?
are.
Yeah.
The hell you
I'm digging
smoking?
that. Digging that. Because we're talking about vampires, so you know.
You're like,
You just got a glare going on.
I know, but it's just I just noticed
Yeah.
that. It's like that's
Yeah.
I look like a
That's kinda
damn lion, man, like a lion creature.
I'll
Yeah,
take that as
yeah.
a compliment.
My
I'm
mane.
Taurus.
I look like a guy with a wispy mustache, no chin hair.
No chin here.
Yeah, I hate that. I don't grow like that. I don't get the good connection.
Just pick up and just take a new selfie, dude.
Yeah.
Nah.
You're amongst friends here, you know. I wouldn't.
All,
You
Who
know,
cares, dude?
all the newer pictures I've taken since then look worse.
Wear a mask.
no, dude, no. It's real simple. Have your girlfriend take the pic.
Yeah.
Tell her
I don't
you
know.
know before you
You got a
guys go out
girlfriend.
somewhere nice or something.
What's her
You know,
name?
Nicole.
Nicole. I don't know how long you guys been dating.
7
Years?
years.
7 years.
Wow,
Oh,
dude.
Wow. She living
Yeah.
with you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Thanks,
We've,
Raven.
we've talked about this before.
Have we? Oh, I think I have. Very cool.
I like how much you pay attention to our conversations there, Brian.
Man, shit, dude. I'm
just fucking with you,
admit
bro.
to the world,
I'm fucking with
my
you, bro.
fucking memory is for shit, dude.
It's better than mine.
I mean, it is bad.
It's just old age creeping up on you guys.
It is, dude. My eyes are gone to shit. My knees are shot. My eyes are shot. I can't remember shit.
Hey, as
I
long
can't
as everything
hear.
else is working, you know.
It's working. It's where I'm not doing any blue pills yet. I'm like, Mel, you better take advantage of that shit because one of these days.
Whoa.
And before Justin claims his girl is from America, is she? Is she?
No.
Is she a filthy?
I got a girlfriend in America. Yeah. So in Canada, do you guys say that? Like, you should see my girlfriend in America because, like, you know, the stereotype, like,
I know the
my
joke.
girlfriend in Canada.
No. At least I don't recall ever hearing that.
Yeah, that's kind of a.
I know the joke because it's been on
Yeah.
like a lot of TV shows and shit.
It's been around forever.
Yeah.
I remember it as a kid. At least two guys I know said that at one point or another. And I'm just like, dude, you live in California. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Right?
Now
Like that
nowadays
joke
would be
makes
like,
sense if you're like in Wisconsin or
yeah, up north.
Right.
Yeah.
You live in a border state.
Humpy Bill.
Yeah,
I
I don't
love
think
that.
I don't think I
That's
hear
fucking
much like, oh, my girlfriend down in, you know, Tijuana, or my girlfriend down in
God forbid. Oh my
my
God.
girlfriend down in, you know, Guatemala or some shit. You don't hear that very often.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Pretty soon you won't have to. She's just in California.
We'll be here, yeah. We'll be up there anyway.
If Lady says girls are stupid, I heard they have cooties.
Girls are stupid. They do have cooties.
Fun. I like girls.
Yeah, that's what cooties mean.
I've never seen one, so and trust me, I've looked.
I agree with Shadow and his premise with mythical creatures. If it's not dead and on the hood of my car, it doesn't exist.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
You know, like Bigfoot, aliens, and crap
Hey, it's Bigfoot, not plural. There's no 2 feet.
You know, you
there
can
could be
call
more
them
than
skunk.
one Bigfoot.
Yeah, the skunk apes and the boggy creek creatures, and there's
Possibly the
lots of different
Jersey
names.
Devil.
Sasquatch, lots of different names for the Bigfoot.
Yeah. But all of them mean it only has 1 foot.
Okay, Flatey, I think you've won the chat award of the evening. I miss the old days.
They did have penises.
I agree with that.
You win the you win the chat award of the evening. Wow. I mean, I've heard it before, but I just wasn't expecting that.
Well,
And Max
you
says,
got to head
"Well,
off to the
Nathan's show.
Nathan show.
I'm gonna go talk to Hungar. He just messaged me.
Oh, how is Hungar doing?
Okay. He's doing a lot
Tell
better.
me,
Get some rest
give
and
him
stuff.
give him our non-gay love.
Yeah, I'll tell him you're thinking of Rome.
Hopefully, we'll see you Monday. We'll see all you guys Monday.
Yeah.
If not, over on Connell's show, the Cigar DM, where we're going to review Big Trouble in Little China, which I
Big Trouble in Little China.
Now,
watch
seriously, we should do that one Saturday instead of this show. Is just play that as a role playing game.
Dude, that'd be fantastic.
I'm
Egg Chan. Egg Chan. I'm playing Egg Chan.
You're playing Egg Chan?
Let me watch it first.
12 Demon Bag.
L, Monday is the Hungar show and Sunday is Connell's show.
Yeah.
And Joseph says it's all quantum. Absolutely. I'm gonna start signing off here. You got anything going on, Brian?
I've got my October painting challenge, guys. From now till Halloween, come up with some weird war or anything weird or Halloweeny. Paint it up, send me a picture or a video, and I'm gonna make
some ghosts with machine guns.
There you go, or whatever. It can be just ghosts if you want. But
trying to give people ideas.
And I'm gonna make a showcase video, and if you have a link, you want to showcase like your channel or your blog or whatever, send it to, and I'll hook you up in the video. Give everybody some exposure.
And once again,
Yeah.
Flady, you're taking the cake. I'm glad that's always the point of these shows is to bring new ideas to GMs and players out there to use some of the stuff freely as we've brought it forth this evening. I've always had a love hatred with vampires. I love to hate them. They're way up there in the ultimate evil category for me. The whole concept, and if you get your players to go out there and stake some vampires, stake one for me.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I want to correct L on one thing before we go.
Okay.
It's not Flash Gordon, it's Flesh Gordon.
Flesh.
You know what?
movie.
Is
Don't
there a
watch
Flash Gordon RPG other than because I know there's a Buck Rogers?
Probably.
If there's a
I'm sure there is.
I would check it out. I'm still actually looking for the old TSR Buck Rogers, but anything with an IP like that and Conan, it's just the price is crazy. I'll just wait till next summer and
just
put it on the
make
list.
your own.
I know I could use anything. I'm not big on system. Find the system you like and use it for whatever game you want to play.
Make your own system. That's what
Really
I do.
that simple.
Yeah.
Make your own system.
I'm working on a 1d6 system right now.
That's
Sky
right.
rules.
I'm at the point where I'm saying I'm working on a 1d6 system, and that's as far as I've got.
It's gonna be a D6 system, and I'm gonna use centimeter. Good.
Yeah, I think
I
all-
don't know why.
have an RPG up in our old noggin that we should someday get out. I mean, what's another couple hundred games out on the market, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, Joseph.
but-
Flesh.
So sticking with vampires real quick. You guys watch Life Force. If you have not seen Life Force, watch it. It's a fantastic movie. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll try and put that on
The lead actress wears too much clothing, and that's the only problem in the movie.
Great. It's great. It's a great monster movie. It's a great sci-fi movie. It's good. You guys will dig it.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll wrap it up.
And buy Justin's shirts.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Go visit
Nice.
my T Public.
Steal your thunder.
Same name. You can see me Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on either Hungar or my channel, depending on who's alive that week. Shadow can be seen on this channel as well as on Hungar or my channel.
And then you'll see me every once in a while. Just go to Weird World War II, see if I'm live. I usually do every other day at least. I try to get an hour of painting in and just bullshitting.
Yeah.
at odd hours, usually at night.
Yeah.
I'm still cursing you over that other day, asking me to put a stream. My whole sleep schedule's been a whack since then.
I'm playing, brother.
Yeah, it's your fault.
Getting you up here.
Yeah.
Well, I hope you stick with the job as long as possible, my friend.
Yeah.
All right, you guys have a good night.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody for playing along.
Vampires
Really appreciate it.
are
This was fun.
Vampires
Yeah.
bad. Okay?
Don't
Keep
do
it weird.
vampires. Don't do vampires.
Don't do vampires. It's bad. Okay? Keep it weird.
Party on, everybody.
Take care, everybody. God bless.
Talk to you later.
Appreciate
Shadow.
everything you guys did for us tonight. This was a lot of fun. And as always, happy trails.
Yeah. Ooh.